Yo guys, Spider Bite here. We're back discussing transit secrets. We're going to focus on the actual bus and bus routes and time of day, possibly time travel. We're not sure. We're going to cover a lot of things in this video. Anyways, the first thing, as soon as you start the game, and I just want to go through this step by step, if I can, if it's possible for me to do so. I don't know. Spider-Bite, can you? The bus actually comes out from behind the bus station. Okay? So there's actually a bus route or whatever. Maybe there's a garage back there. We can't really see. You can look out the window. You can only see so far left, and that's where the bus comes. It actually comes around over the lava to the right of the bus depot and then comes into where you get picked up. All right? So if we go into the bus depot, there's actually a sign that shows bus routes, all right? And there, in the top right of the sign, it actually shows routes A and B. A is 9:15, 11:30 to 4:15, 6:30. No night service, day service. All right. B is 8, 10, 12, and 2. Night service. All right. So these times, it's hard to say. Are these the departing times of buses that go to route A, or are they actually arrival times at each of the locations on that route? Now, if we assume that they are actually arrival times at each location, then we would therefore assume that we're on route A. And we're going to make that assumption. I mean, to me, it shows that maybe those are possibly more departure times from the bus depot. So if I want to take route A, my departure time is at 9:15. There's another bus at 11:30. There's another bus at 2 o'clock. But I think, and just reading some of the comments in the forums, and I know this has been discussed the past few days, that people are assuming that those times indicate arrival times at each of the locations. So if we're going to assume that, then that would mean we are on route A. We're actually in day service, but because of the explosions and what has happened, the fog, etc., that it actually looks like night when perhaps it is actually day. And we're on route A because there are five stops, right? We have the bus depot, we have the diner, the farm, the power station, and town. But that leaves us open to this B route. Okay, what's the B route? Well, if we go to the diner, you can actually go on top of the diner, and you can see that as we come out of the tunnel, excuse me, as we come out of the tunnel towards the diner, we actually veer left because the road's blocked. Well, from atop the diner, or if you go, I mean, you can also go in theater mode and see this, but from atop the diner, we see that the roadway actually veers to the right and doesn't even come past the diner. So is it possible that when you veer to the right, there are 3 additional stops on that route, and then it brings us back to the bus depot from the same route that the bus first appeared on, which was coming in from behind the actual depot that we saw earlier. Also to note is that it looks like that this fog is sort of cleared up a little bit over on that other pathway. So perhaps, and I know people have no-clipped, but you know, I'm and I gotta try and attribute a little credit to Treyarch that perhaps they have sort of learned their lesson from Black Ops, knowing that, and this happened on Moon. When Moon was released, an hour after Moon was released, the entire, like, all the steps for the Easter egg for the Big Bang Theory were actually released and published on the internet. So somebody obviously hacked the game code to come up with it. They know people are going to hack the shit, and we know that people are hacking it. People hacked it on day 1, man. And it's garbage, I know, but regardless, they know people are going to do that. They know people are going to no-clip. They know they're going to try and go into theater mode, which is the reason why there's a bunch of things that are disabled in theater mode, as well as not being able to go to certain locations in theater mode, and possibly that is the case with no-clipping as well. Even though people have scoured the map under no-clipping, is it possible that Treyarch has somehow hidden elements of the map? We know that they've hidden the Pack-a-Punch area. You can't actually go down there unless you open it up. Perhaps they've also hidden, this other route that people haven't been able to no-clip. Maybe it loads in, like after you complete a step, it doesn't actually load into memory or load into the game until after that step in time. So, hey, we're just throwing out ideas here. The other thing, and I read this on a forum, and I like to attribute credit where it's due, and I'm using some information from DJ Technics again, and I'll post a link to his Twitter. He's got a great document that we're running off of here as well, but also forum postings, and I've seen links or references to videos as well. I don't know where the initial ideas have come from, so if I can pinpoint it, I will put a link in the description. If I can't, then unfortunately I apologize, but I can't attribute credit. And it's definitely, I mean, some of these thoughts are mine, but a lot of them have come off the basis of reading things in the forums in large part. So the other thing that somebody came up with on one of the forum postings that I read, and I think that was on Activision's forum site, was that the possibility of perhaps either time travel, because there was actually a video that was released, somebody from Treyarch. It was like an inside video, and I'll show a couple of images from it, but it actually showed screen images of people that were actually working on developing some of these areas in Zombies. And, you know, I understand development. You want to develop an area and create it without all the effects, without all the lava and the destruction, some of the destruction. So it kind of appears that perhaps they have, you know, a version of the map that is clear, that is prior to the explosions that came down, the missiles that came down from Moon. So there's no lava, there's no destruction, it's clear, there's grass, there, you know, the same sort of map, but pre Moon missile explosions, right? So perhaps there's some time travel involved. One of the things, though, that sort of indicates me to change from our Route A, like if we can get onto Route B with the bus schedules here, the one indication that I see of the possibility of that are these signs that exist in the tunnel. And if you look at these signs, they're, you know, it's drive safely, exit half mile. But a lot of the letters and the number 1 is blacked out. So you really only see in white, day X/2 me. Well, can we actually convert that to day X equals cross, the slash is over to me, so day cross over to me. So if we interpret the sign to mean that, is it possible then that our original assumption or theory about the possibility of another route and having to change to nighttime in order to access Route B, does this kind of fit in with that? Well, day crossover to me, meaning, hey, crossover to nighttime, right? And open up Route B, we can go that other route. The only other problem with that is that, you know, there are sandbags that are sort of blocking that area from going right before you get to the diner. So, but again, it just, you know, to have this sign and to have all these letters blacked out, and for it to say day X/2 me, you know, that's a sign. That's got to be a sign. And there are things that are in here for a reason. If it was just, you know, a sign that was obliterated with blood and you really couldn't make out anything, then I would agree, hey, it's just in the game. But the fact that day X/2 me, it's got to mean something, in my opinion. Who knows if this would even tie into the nav cards? I know there's talk about the nav cards and reprogramming the bus to do something else, or do we change the time of day and it's automatically reprogrammed? We don't know. We don't know. And we don't even know if there is even the possibility of this whole entire concept existing. We're just going on, you know, trying to piece together data and evidence that the community has brought forth. And there's actually a tie-in of this to where we think a possible location and a reference is given by the bus driver to this location that we go to the right before the diner. But we'll talk about that in a different video. The other thing I wanted to just touch upon briefly is that for the bus driver, you know how the bus driver makes mention of various locations seemingly, you know, hundreds or if not thousands of miles apart from each other. Well, what I think is that, you know, the CCC or whatever the bus corporation is that Teddy or whatever you want to call him, the bus driver represents or works for, I'm assuming there are more than just him. You know, there are buses and automated bus drivers that exist, and perhaps with what has happened, there has been some data that was infused in him that necessarily, the stuff that he's talking about are from other buses with other drivers that somehow he's just spewing out. That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, obviously, when he starts talking about Hawaii and Mount Weather that we've already talked about, and Yellowstone, and a bunch of other places, like he would never be the driver. It would never be a single bus route for all of those locations. So that's the only thing I can think of, and that's why there are so many of these disparate locations that he talks about, but they don't necessarily mean that they're on his bus route. Oh, one other thing I want to touch upon. Somebody had tweeted me last night about something shooting the clocks with upgraded M1911 with Mustang and Sally or Semtex or whatever. So I actually went in and, like I said, if it's implausible but it's easy enough to do, I'll probably end up doing it. So I actually went into a game, upgraded my M1911 to Mustang and Sally. I went and destroyed the clocks in the bus depot. Is there a possibility that you got to destroy them all at the same time? I doubt it. I mean, it gives you the sound, and it appears as though you're destroying the clock, but it just looks like charred, a charred clock, a charred, destroyed clock. And then after a certain time, as is the case with most of the textures and walls, if you shoot a wall, it'll show your bullet. Your bullet has impacted on the wall, but then you go back there a few minutes later, and it's gone. It's the texture just, or the wall texture just, I don't know, whatever the case, it's the bullet hole is gone at any rate. The same thing happens to the clocks, which kind of leads me to believe it's not true. I think the assumption or the possibility was that, hey, you destroy the clocks all at the same time and it turns it to nighttime, or something like that. But yeah, I really don't think that's the case. Alright, so that's about it for this theory. Like I said, it's been floating around here for a few days, and DJ Technics had put some information together on it, and I've been thinking about it as well, and I wanted to bring it to you guys. There are a bunch of other things that we'll be covering in time with reference to other locations that the bus driver has been speaking about, as well as some tie-ins to some previous maps from Black Ops for Transit. But we'll touch on those in the coming days. Hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, let us know what you think. I mean, it's kind of interesting. Do you think there's the possibility of either time travel to a possible time where the maps, the world has not been destroyed, or is it a matter of, hey, can we change the time of day and make the bus driver think, hey, we're not on Route A anymore, we're on Route B, and again, assuming that those routes indicate times for each stop, as opposed to times that a bus would leave along that route from the bus depot. Let me know what you think, as always, guys. Interesting stuff. I know. I love talking about this stuff. I love it. See you next time. I'm Spider, and I'm out.